Woody Wommack and Mike Farrell here in New York City, welcoming. It's a cavalcade of guests today.
Cavalcade.
Nobody wants to hear us talk. They want to
No.
hear us talk to other people. And one of those experts we bring in right now from UGAsports.com, Jake Roos. We call him Reuse, the recycle man. Jake, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're having a great time. Mike has had like 10 coffees.
10 coffees.
Jelly beans. We're having a heart attack contest, see which one can drop
Being
out
called
first.
a UGA fan yesterday on Twitter. It was hilarious.
So, Jake, tell us, Georgia is probably one of the teams that's most involved in the action today. Seems like a ton of guys are going to be committing and could go either way. So give us an update. What are we looking at? What are you really locked on your computer for here over the next few hours?
Yeah, we're going to be monitoring several upcoming announcements. C.J. Stroud, probably first and foremost. I'm still leaning Ohio State there, but we've heard a lot of buzz around Georgia here in the last probably 18 hours. So it sounds like there is something to watch at the very minimum. So we'll be tuned into that one. After that, you got Arian Smith down in Lakeland, Florida, one of the fastest kids in this class. I feel very good about Georgia's chances there. I think that Smith will be a Bulldog. It sounds like knocked it out of the park over his official visit this past weekend. Jordan Birch coming after that, I think that everybody's got their own feeling on what's going to happen there. I've said I don't know. I give Georgia a little bit of an edge because they got that last official visit. Really nothing Birch does would surprise me. I think South Carolina feels good. I think LSU feels good. So going to be a weird one to watch. And then later in the day, you got Eric Reed. We felt really confident about him yesterday being a Bulldog, but it sounds like Auburn surging here late. Looks like that may go the way of the Tigers.
So Georgia's got Carson Beck already in the fold at quarterback, but you mentioned they pushed for Stroud. If they don't get Stroud, are they still going to pursue another quarterback? What's the feeling? Are they worried about Fromm leaving and they think they need two guys, or what are you hearing there?
Yeah, I think that it's going to come down to what Fromm does as to how hard you'll see them push moving beyond today. I think they'd take Stroud in a heartbeat, certainly one of the best players in the nation. But, if it ends up being that Jake comes back, then it's a situation with Beck that you may not necessarily need another guy in this class. But, if you get those indications Fromm's moving on, you're definitely going to want to stock the ranks there. They don't have a ton of experience in that room either. So getting another guy in there for the sake of competition would be very good.
Broderick Jones not signing today. Obviously visited Auburn quite a few times before he made his decision to go to Georgia. Obviously, it's a Pittman thing. What's your impression of Matt Luke so far as recruiting these guys? And do you think it's just, he wants to be patient with this?
Yeah, I think Matt Luke's done a pretty strong job so far. I think given the window he had to work in, which was not very substantial, I think that he's been able to keep this class together for the most part. Chad Lindbergh re-upped and reaffirmed his commitment, went ahead and signed. Tate Ratledge the same way. So I think that both of those huge for Georgia. As you mentioned, Broderick waiting until February now, but he told us kind of early on in the process that he was probably going to take that route. It looks like he was a guy who held off on his official visits throughout the season, wants to do that in January. I think that you got to be concerned if you're Georgia because, anytime you're fighting with Auburn, that's going to be tough. They've got a lot to sell as well. So, as you mentioned, he's been there several times, very interested. I think Georgia, feels confident about chances right now, but certainly going to be a roller coaster ride for Broderick Jones heading into February.
Yeah, was Georgia at all? Sam Pittman was not a name we really were expecting to jump ship and get a head coaching job. First of all, how big of an impact is that going to have across the SEC because of how he was able to recruit an offensive line? And like Mike said, how important was it to make that move on Luke so quickly to hold the group together?
Yeah, I think, Georgia had to make a move fast, and I think that you couldn't have gotten anybody better given the time frame. I just think that it was, a kind of a knockout hire for them when it came to Matt Luke. The opportunity to get a guy who's familiar with a number of your guys you've recruited already, number of your signees. Even former Georgia players were tweeting about Matt Luke and saying, hey, we hope we can get this guy to come in and take it for Coach Pitt. So really think that was a great hire for them to get Luke in. And then as for Pittman, I think that he'll do a strong job up there. He's an incredible recruiter, as you mentioned, a guy who's going to be a thorn in the, I think, of many SEC programs, not just Georgia, but across the conference.
Kirby Smart came under some fire as far as recruiting the wide receiver position, and the lack of skill players there or development of skill players there. What's the feeling about this wide receiver class, and how are they addressing that?
I think that they feel good about the guys that they've been able to get, and I think they should. I really like Marcus Roseby. I know we've got him rated really highly on Rivals.com. A kid who just solid hands, willing blocker. I think he fits really well with what Georgia wants to do offensively and at that position. Another kid who has already gone ahead and papers, Justin Robinson, out of Eagles Landing down there just south of Atlanta. Another guy who I think fits that really well. Does some of those similar things. Big body. I hope he can be a red zone guy. Ran track in high school, so that's appealing. And then, obviously, they're looking for later today. Will a guy like Arian Smith go ahead and sign his papers? We feel good about that. One of the fastest kids in this nation. May need a little bit of development, but I think would be a great weapon. Kind of a Mecole Hardman type of, and they've been searching for that since he left, certainly. And then we're keeping eyes on Jermaine Burton. His is a name we've heard a lot. The LSU commit he grew up in Georgia, a lot of family ties here, so that's definitely one to keep on the radar, even past today.
All right, the Bulldogs at the center of the recruiting universe on signing day. What's
Again.
new? Every year.
Every year
twice
under,
a year.
Every year under Kirby.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Under
true.
Mark Richt, it was less dramatic.
All right, so you can follow Jake on Twitter. You can find him at ujsports.com. He will be on top of the news all day. Jake, thanks for joining us, and stay locked into Rivals.com, where Mike and I will be breaking down all the news throughout the day.